I'm here in New York in front of the UN, and what has been delivered here is an essay that I've written called Dare to Be Wise. It is about decolonisation underpinning sovereign treaties within Australia. But one of the things that we are talking about in this paper is to show how the High Court in Mabo has not made a legal judgment necessarily, but it was a combination of political judgments as well as legal judgments from their point of view. However, when you do the study of Australia's establishment as a nation state, there are too many wrongs that have been committed, and these wrongs cannot be forgiven. And the fraud that underpins these wrongs is what we need to now deal with. And as Aboriginal people trying to be now coerced into being put into the Australian Constitution and being recognised is a major catastrophe for Aboriginal people. Should it come about, because it wipes out our whole existence and we become part of the assimilated Australian society. This is not what we are, this is not who we are. We've never been Australians and we've never been British subjects. And so to now all of a sudden begin a process of change to incorporate us as Australian citizens is another fraud against the people. And so we now have to expose this fraud and show all these wrongdoings. And in this paper that is being sent to the UN via the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, I believe we can achieve this. Our next step is to go to England and then to make submissions to be heard in the House of Commons in relation to our assertions according to what we have located within the wrongdoings on the establishment of Australia as a nation state. And England are at fault because it is their law that makes and creates the Commonwealth of Australia, without which there would be no law, no government in Australia. Without that, the only way it would be possible is for Australia to go through a revolution and then completely disassociate itself from England and break away from England. But the question is whether the Australian public are in a position or confident or at least brave enough to take that step. And so we have all this procrastination, but that procrastination is hurting Aboriginal people, and we can't afford to continue along those lines because our kids are dying, our people are being jailed, we're being forcibly removed off the only lands that we have left, and of course the lands that they're giving back as compensation is still held under an escheat regime where they say that there is no owner, and as a consequence the government maintains caveats and other types of land ownership over the land that Aboriginal people occupy. So we get to use it. We're not allowed to make any economic programs, nor are we to use the land for economic purposes or any gains. And so for Aboriginal people to say that, we should, conciliate and become part of that system is a travesty of justice of great proportions. And so the likes of Noel Pearson, Pat Dodson, and now they rope in this fellow called Stan Grant, who's now promoting this moderate shift. Unfortunately, Stan Grant needs to go back to his roots and really find out the damage that's been done and what is being cheated, how we're being cheated. He needs to read this paper that's been sent to the UN, along with a lot of other people, and particularly lawyers who are promoting and working in native title, because they are in fact giving away our country for nothing. The only country in the world that has the ability to alter and fix up and give Australia its freedom is England, through the decolonisation process within the UN. So it will be a major shift in governance, but in that governance it must recognise the continuing sovereignty of Aboriginal peoples, without which the country can never be a legitimate state, because there will always be an occupier of our lands, and the subordinates who are us, whose lands they have occupied. And so we in Australia have a worse situation than they have in Palestine, because we have not yet learned how to fight.